Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're going to talk about one of the biggest revolutions that Blox Fruits has ever had in its history, the Big Boss rework. For years, bosses were seen as predictable obstacles with repetitive movements and fights that didn't demand much from the player. But now, with this new update, everything has changed. Why the bosses were reworked. What changed in each of them? New mechanics and abilities. Strategies to defeat each one in the new format. Which bosses got harder? And of course, the impact on farming, raids and progression in the game. Before the rework, many players saw bosses as just a means to an end. In other words, you didn't face the boss because it was fun, but because you needed an item or level. And this happened for three reasons. Simple and predictable AI. The bosses repeated the same movements in a loop. All you had to do was learn the pattern, and that was it. Infinite farming. Low or unfair damage. Either the boss was too weak and didn't offer a challenge, or it had a stolen attack that killed in one hit. Uninteresting rewards. Many didn't give unique items, or they only gave XP and fragments that could be farmed more easily in raids. With the growth of the game and the arrival of C3, it became clear that the boss system needed to evolve. With the rework, the developers reformulated the core of the bosses. Now each boss has white heavy checkmark, different attack patterns as their health decreases. White heavy checkmark in rage system that changes the fight halfway through. White heavy checkmark new skills, improved visuals and effects. White heavy checkmark interaction with the environment, attacks that break or affect the map. White heavy checkmark greater resistance to combo spam. White heavy checkmark unique mechanics per boss. Shields, teleport, summons, etc. In addition, the drops have also been revised. New legendary weapons. Rare cosmetic items. Exclusive essences and materials for fruit evolution. Submarine or naval equipment pieces in the case of C4. Bosses are now divided into categories that help the player understand the type of challenge. Fire elemental bosses control a type of fruit or element. Brain strategic bosses use the environment and unique mechanics. Skull brutal bosses high damage and speed. Test reflexes. Busts and silhouette summoner bosses summon minions or clones during the fight. Gemstone reward bosses, rarer but with incredible loot. This change added depth to the gameplay. Now you need to really prepare before going after a boss. Ice Cube Ice Admiral, elemental rework. New ability, Glacial Storm, deals area damage with freezing. Ice Shield when below 30% health. Uses directional attacks that force the player to move. New drop, Freezing Sword Ice Saber V2. Fire Flame User, PvP boss rework. Much more aggressive, with Flaming Teleport. Can self-heal with flames. Attacks now deal continuous burn damage. New rare ability, Flame Vortex V. Legendary drop, Incandescent Shard. High Voltage Thunder God Speed rework. One of the fastest bosses post-rework. Can break instinct with Chain Lightning. Summons random lightning bolts during the fight. New Electric Sword, Heaven Piercer. Ideal for testing reflexes and evasion. Skull Dawn Swan strategy rework. New hidden phase after dying secret form. Summons guards with advanced hockey. Area attacks and confusion. New drops. Swan Cape V2 Mysterious Key. Dragon Boss, new legendary boss. 3 phases. Base, Draconic and Ancestral form. Combines physical attacks with flaming ones. Flies and attacks from above like Sea Beast. Epic drop, Dragon Scales used to awaken fruits. Now it's no use just rushing with Buddha and beating the boss. You need to develop strategies depending on the enemy's category and style. General tips. White heavy checkmark, bring a diverse team. 1 tank, 1 support, 2 DPS. White heavy checkmark, use fruits with mobility such as leopard, spider, portal. White heavy checkmark, learn to recognize visual signals of attacks. White heavy checkmark, keep your distance from bosses with area attacks. White heavy checkmark, if possible, bring buffs with fruits that heal or increase defense. Example of an ideal build to face bosses. Fruit, dragon or leopard, high damage. Fighting style, god human or electric claw. Weapon, CDK or Tashita. Class, V3 or V4 activated. Before, defeating bosses was a repetitive task. Now it's an epic mini-battle. Advantages of the new system. More fun, less automatic. Values those who understand the mechanics. Encourages cooperation and organized teams. More valuable and varied drops. Greater use of fruits and styles outside the meta. In addition, with the reworked bosses, new ways of farming appear. Boss rush events with several bosses in a row. Weekly boss challenges with bonus loot. Specific achievements for defeating each boss without taking damage. Reputation with factions for defeating enemy bosses. And the most exciting thing is that the devs have already given clues that this is just the beginning. Theories and rumors indicate new bosses in C4 with underwater mechanics. Bosses that appear in dynamic events, such as storms. Bosses with dialogue choices before the fight, changing the ending. Cooperative mode with giant raid world-style bosses. Guild bosses, enemies that only appear when your crew reaches a certain rank. The boss rework has transformed Blox fruits into something more challenging, strategic, and fun. Now, each boss is a unique experience, and the player who studies and prepares has a huge advantage. So, have you faced any reworked bosses? Which was the hardest? Which drop do you want the most? Leave your opinion in the comments, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more full videos like this one.